A woman stands next to a video presentation and uses sign language.
Arizona State Schools for the Deaf and the Blind, ASDB, plays a pivotal role in educating children from birth to 21 years young, and has done so for over a century.
The presentation looks aged, historical.
In fact, it might surprise you to learn that ASDB has been operating since 1912, the year Arizona was welcomed into the Union as a state. As you can imagine, a lot can change in 100 years, and that has certainly been the case with ASDB.
The presentation's title screen has the look of old paper. In the middle of the screen is the title, Important Leaders in ASDB's History.
To help you understand just a small portion of the change and growth ASDB has been through, I've selected some relics of history that I've carefully preserved over the years and now housed in our museum. Please enjoy. Important leaders in ASDB's history.
The screen zooms out and an image of Sam Hughes, an older man with a large, neatly kept beard, appears.
In 1895, the territorial governor of Arizona, Sam Hughes, signed House Bill 22, providing education for the deaf and the blind.
The image of Sam Hughes flashes off screen and is replaced by a picture of a younger man in suit and tie, that of John Matthews.
1910. John Matthews, first president of Arizona State University, went to Massachusetts and met with Henry C. White, a deaf graduate of Gallaudet College in Washington, D.C.
Portraits of Henry C. White and his daughter Harriet, framed in black oval shapes,
1911. White moved to Phoenix and started a private school for the deaf at his residence.
A government office is shown with a senator standing proudly at the center podium.
1912. Governor W.P. Hunt appointed Henry C. White as the first deaf principal of the School for the Deaf and the Blind.
Two portraits of ASDB's first superintendent appear.
1929. Howard Griffin, former principal, became the first superintendent. Later that same year, Roy Nilsson replaced him.
The timeline continues, revealing the face of Dr. Edward Tillinghast.
1941 to 1974. For 33 years, Dr. Edward Tillinghast served as superintendent. His accomplishments include creating a plan for establishing the ASDB agency in 1965 and overseeing the creation of the Phoenix Day School for the Deaf in 1967. Many other superintendents served after Tillinghast, but it wasn't until 104 years after Henry C. White, ASDB's first principal, that ASDB would have another leader who was deaf.
Tillinghast's image zooms away and is replaced by a picture of Annette Reichman.
Present. On July 15, 2016, Annette Reichman became ASDB's first deaf superintendent and first superintendent with vision limitations.
She's wearing a blue jacket and matching blue shirt with a gold necklace and boasts a proud smile.
First school campus. The first campus was located on the University of Arizona grounds, next to the old main building.
An image of a two-story house with a landscape of cactus around it appears. 5 buildings arranged in a neat row with trees lining the roads is shown.
1921 to 22. In 1921, building construction began, and by 1922, the ASDB campus consisted of 5 buildings, 2 dormitories, a kitchen, a powerhouse, and a classroom.
The camera moves in closer, giving a look at the superintendent's house and bathhouse.
In 1945, all original buildings, with the exception of the superintendent's house and bathhouse, were dismantled and rebuilt. The superintendent's house and bathhouse are the only original ASDB buildings remaining. They were built over 89 years ago. Today, we dedicate historic landmark plaques in their honor.
The ASDB campus map from 1970 is shown from a top-down view.
Now, in 2016, the campus has greatly expanded.
An aerial image of the football field from 1993 is displayed.
The heart of ASDB, its students, teachers, and staff.
A slideshow of images begins.
Sewing class. In 1925, both blind and deaf girls were in the same sewing class together.
Girls sporting white dresses and black tights stand with their arms raised.
In 1926, the girls that were in physical education were posing in their dresses.
A portrait of a young girl with her hair parted wearing a button-up dress.
A photograph taken in 1937 of Jackie Coker, a deafblind student who was called Arizona's Helen Keller. She is well known for presenting at different workshops.
Boys of all ages stand beside one another wearing full-body swimsuits.
In 1928, ASDB was one of the first schools with a swimming pool in Tucson. Only the boys were allowed to dive off the diving board. In 1930, Boy Scouts invited the Boy Scouts of the Catalina Council to compete in swimming.
A row of muscular boys stand in an arch, painted gold from head to toe.
In 1936, boys were painted in gold from their head to their toes. They performed the Golden Athlete twice in 1936 and 1937.
A group of students are dressed in cowboy attire, including vests, hats, and bandanas.
In 1938, all the teachers and students wore Western wear during the rodeo week in February.
Boys stand in a neat line wearing white naval uniforms.
In 1936, Sea Scout was formed. They wore white uniforms just like the Navy. General Pershing visited the campus and observed the Scouts' camping drill.
Four boys, one with a guitar, sing in harmony with one another.
In 1948, a quartet consisting of 4 blind boys performed on radio KVOA's Bard Dance program. People sure did enjoy dancing.
A large choir stands on a stage. A piano player sits on a piano bench accompanied by some brass instrumentalists.
In 1950, the blind chorus traveled by train to Chicago to perform a concert. They sang for 3,000 delegates at the International Lions Convention.
A page from an old yearbook shows 6 students, 3 boys and 3 girls. The yearbook page fades into another, and another, and another.
As you can see, ASDB holds a special place in Arizona's rich history. From its origins in Arizona's Wild West and territorial ways, to its expansion within the heart and soul of metropolitan Tucson. ASDB has grown and changed in many ways, while its mission has remained much the same. Today we pay tribute to the important role ASDB has played in Arizona's history and dedicate the Superintendent's House and Bathhouse as Arizona historical landmarks. By honoring these 2 buildings, we help preserve them for future generations to help them stand up to the test of time. These landmarks symbolize the unwavering commitment Arizona and ASDB have towards educating youth who are deaf, blind, visually impaired, and deaf-blind throughout all of Arizona. From the past to the present and to the future.